Hey guys, this is Chris of Superfast RC, and today I'll be taking you through my experiences with the Team Associated RC8.2E. This will be a full review. I've driven this car a good bit and know a little about it. I know a little bit about it, and this being the factory team kit, I did assemble it. Well, me being me and my girlfriend, she wanted to help, so I mean, why not? So she did most of the work, honestly. Yeah, I've had this car for about 3 months now and driven it probably about 5 to 6 packs. Um, and have some good things and some not so good things I need to tell you about. So let's get started. First off, I dated this is probably one of my best bodies. Well, it's kind of, well, you can see the fade here. The best paint jobs I've ever done, at least. When it's not under direct light, it looks kind of more like a green to blue fade. But it doesn't look like that right now because it's got light on it. Anyways, enough with the body. Well, this is the body that comes with it. It's a J Concepts, I believe. It's not a bad looking body for this buggy, so yeah, that's the body. Let's get rid of that. Um, in this car, I'm running a Mamba Monster 2 without the fan because I absolutely hate it and I think it's stupid. We've got a Turnigy 5000 milliamp hour hard case pack in there, 4S, Hobby King servo. I really haven't had any issues with it. I've had the servo for over a year and it's been fine. I don't think they make this exact model anymore, but I think they make one like it. It's really responsive, got plenty of power, and I think it was like 15 bucks. Can't beat it. The motor, a lot of you won't know what this is. This is actually an Aviox motor. I can't tell you. I think it's around 1950 kV, but it's fine for what I use it for. It's got plenty of low end torque and it does top out pretty quick, but I mean, it's fine for this. I'm not really competitively racing this buggy, so just, going around on the backyard track and the local track, it's not a big deal. It's fine. And let's start talking about build quality here. Build quality is pretty stout. I mean, if you look at the thickness of these shock towers here, I mean, it's at least 4 millimeters, probably 5 millimeters thick, and it's machined aluminum. You can see right there, yeah, it's machined. It hasn't been on me, and I don't expect it to. I mean, it looks pretty dang beefy. On the back, we've got a aluminum hinge pin block, captures both ends. Really, really sturdy. I mean, this car is, there's hardly any flex in it at all. It's just stout. Bottom of the chassis here, to give you a look at that. Really strong. Like I said, I've got about 6 packs of this car and barely any rubbing. And you can see it towards the back here. And I did fix that. There was some bottoming out with the factory suspension setup. You're going to want to get heavier weight oil and heavier weight springs, at least in the rear. I got the blue springs. It comes with the silver. I find that these are a lot better than stock. They really, really help out with landing jumps. See, right now it rebounds. Before it wasn't really giving you that rebound or that extra progressive, bump when you'd hit that, and it just bottom out. I mean, that's all there is to it. Now it's got a little bit more resistance to where it doesn't do that as easily. On the front, I didn't change much. Changed the shock locations from the middle to the bottom. Give it a little bit more of that, keep it from completely bottoming out. I didn't change any of the oil or the springs in the front. It's fine the way it comes, or the way you set it up. What the book tells you to do, it's just fine in the front. But in the rear, you're going to want to go with actually a heavier weight oil. I'm using 45, and it comes with 30. So remember that, because I mean, you're not going to want to scrape up your chassis by bottoming out in the rear. The front, yeah, let's take a look at the front. Okay, so that's my fluorescent green paint there. It's got another captured front hinge pin block, machined blue aluminum. The top plate here on the steering is also machined aluminum, really nice. Bottom, if you can see that in there, on the back side of the front, there's also a machined hinge pin block. Oh, another thing I want to tell you about, I forget which side it's on. This side here, maybe you can see that. You see that drive shaft? It's bent. And I think that happened after pretty hard landing off of a jump. It wasn't. It wasn't. It was a crash. I mean, but I mean, it did bend more than this. I had to actually take that shaft out and beat it with a hammer and vise and get it back to where it was at least, there's not that much bend in the shaft. But these are a softer shaft than other buggies I've used in the past. Most notably, in my experience, the X-Ray 808 and XT8, XB8 shafts are bulletproof, and they do advertise those as being Hootie spring steel and all this sort of stuff. And I mean, it's tough. They're really tough. I've never had one break. These aren't constructed of that strong of a steel, obviously, and they're gonna bend. I mean, that's just something you're gonna have to put up with. Unfortunately, I mean, I guess you probably could rig some stronger shafts in there. I could try to put some X-ray shafts in there, but I don't have any that will directly fit this model. So yeah, that's one negative, but I think that's pretty much the only negative that I've found so far in my use of it. Oh, and of course, this being, it's basically a nitro convert. There's no electric specific design here. You can see it's a very wide design on the tub. It's got these big chassis guards here. It shares a lot of parts of the nitro. It's not like something like one of those new Offinas where you got very thin chassis, or the Techno, and you can tell it's specifically designed for electric, but it still drives great. I mean, I haven't had any, as far as handling goes, it's phenomenal. Up there with any of the, probably the best racing style buggy I've driven. So better than my X-Ray. I have to say that as far as handling, but durability, I'd give the X-Ray the upper hand. But the good thing about the Team Associate is any hobby shop you go to is going to have the parts. And X-Ray, they don't carry it. So yeah, I mean, there's parts of it, but that's why I got this, was for the parts availability. You can just walk into a shop and get the parts. Simple as that. Another thing I should show you is going to be, what was I going to show you next? Let's just move around here to the side. Maybe I'll think of it. Oh yeah, your bell crank here is also machined aluminum, very tough. You got a radius, not waterproof receiver box, but who really cares? You got a receiver box, keeps your receiver out, and it's got this little guard here to keep this from. It's got routed. It's very well designed, so where it routes the wires away from the drivetrain, so you're not gonna have any issues with that. Very, very thick motor mount here. I think it's about 6 millimeters thick. You're not going to be bending that, and there's absolutely no flex at all on that motor. So yeah, good deal there. I mean, nothing to complain about. Oh shoot, I knew I was going to tell you something. I forgot about it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to draw a blank. Okay, I remembered what it was. You see the way that these shocks mount up in here? It's kind of hard to see. If I can get you looking right there. You see how it's kind of, the shock cap has a recession in it, and that's the way it's designed, where the nut actually is recessed into the shock. This is I'm gonna say the stupidest design I've ever seen on a shock. You see this much play here, and as far as I can tell, that's by design. I looked in the manual 3 or 4 times to see if there's any other way to attach this. This is the way. And there's a little plastic bushing in there, the shock rides on. And getting these tight is difficult because you have to have a special nut wrench to get in there and tighten it down. I think I've actually used needle nose before, but yeah, I don't like this design at all. I like it better when you have a washer and then the nut here. But I don't know. I don't know why they did that. That's really dumb in my mind. But anyways, that's the second negative I have with this thing. Other than that, not too bad. Not too bad. It's expensive. I mean, well, expensive is a relative term when you're talking about racing buggies. Mugens, you get into this Mugen and X-Ray, notably, you could be $600 just for the kit. This one was, I think, $400. But yeah, other than that, not bad at all. These boots on the CVDs here, it's starting to rip there. There's a rip starting to develop there. Yeah, you can see it right there. So I wouldn't expect that to last too much longer. And I don't, it's okay if it doesn't. I mean, it's still going to work. You see some of that machining there on that rear shock tower. Yeah, It's high quality stuff. Shocks, they're good, fine, big bore. Who cares? They're great. What else can I tell you about this thing? Oh, note for assembling this guy, the slipper clutch. I mean, not slipper clutch, the servo saver. It is a pain in the butt. You need a vise, and that's all there is to it. You will cut your hand if you do not have a vise. It's hard to put on. And yeah. Well, anything else negative I have about this thing? Not really. It's all positive. The rest, I mean, could it be better? Yes. Could it be worse? Oh yeah, it could be a lot worse. But yeah, it's a stout buggy. Nothing really I can find too much wrong with it. It's a good car. I'm gonna keep it. Definitely. Handling's great. Parts availability. Um, it's team associated, and that's all you have to say. I mean, their proven record. It's a good car. Yeah, that's it. I mean, not a bad vehicle. First starting out or seasoned veteran. I wouldn't say seasoned veteran, racer, whatever you want to call yourself. I'm a basher. There's no tracks really in my vicinity anymore, so I'm kind of working on my own track. You see it in my videos, just to give it a thorough test as far as bashing and a little bit of racing as far as track handling and jumping goes. This thing's an excellent jumper. It flies perfectly. As long as you take off perfectly, it's going to land perfectly. That's all you can do. I mean, it's pretty much on rails, as most buggies are, and that's why I love them. They handle well. You just drift it through the corners. You can turn. I mean, there's going to have a little bit of push. That's just the way it is. You got to compensate it with a little bit of throttle. And this thing handles it well. I really don't have any complaints. It's everything you want in a buggy, and that's all I can really say. So this has been Chris with Super Fast RC, and this has been the RC8.2E review.